maybe my decision making isn't quite where it should be, but like my actual shot mechanics and everything are so much better now. Now that I'm not competing. So Tanner and I have just been chilling. Yeah, damn it. Oh, that's not. That's not what you want to see. I gave the camo guy the sword. Oh no. What is going on, guys? It is Kyle, aka That Dub Dude, and today we're going to be going over the 5 habits that are keeping you out of Onyx in Halo Infinite. In this video, we'll be covering everything from the nuances of objective play, as well as how to take gunfights and control the flow of the game. Let's start with habit number 1, which is tunnel vision.
Universal donor.
Universal donor.
The 2 types of tunnel vision I want to cover today are enemy tunnel vision and objective tunnel vision. In this clip, I tunnel my vision on the ball carrier and do not check my right corner and look for the enemies attacking. By doing this, I have essentially given my life with no real help to my team. The enemy setup remains completely intact. The next type of tunnel vision I want to cover is enemy tunnel vision. In this clip, we have one of the simplest examples of enemy tunnel vision. When focusing on the first enemy I engage, I don't see the second enemy come into play and set myself up for an easy death. In Slayer, this means going down by an extra point, and in an objective mode, it leads your team to be susceptible to pressure on your setup or lacking pressure on the enemy setup. Moving on, we'll cover our next topic, which is poor peeking habits.
Hello.
Hey.
In this section, we'll be covering both when to peek and also how to peek. When taking 1v1 gunfights in Halo, we want to make sure that we're up on damage so that we can execute a kill if we hit all our shots. But there are opportunities at which you can peek when you're not at full shields. This could be when you're not the primary target of the enemy, especially when their back is turned. This clip shows that even when taking heavy damage, you can still be able to help your team given the correct situation. In this clip, I engage the target even though I'm one shot. I do this because I know the target itself has its back to me, and then I know the rest of the team is not currently shooting at me. Let's contrast this with a bad one-shot peek. After dealing with the first enemy, I attempt to help my teammate fighting above me. I do this because, as we mentioned, when you're not the primary target, you can often help even when down on damage. Unfortunately, in this case, the enemy is still facing my general direction, so it's an easy target switch for him to finish me off. Now that we've covered when to peek, let's discuss how to peek. This clip begins with a good example of me not tunnel visioning on my enemy. In an attempt to clear the right corner, I make a mistake and overcommit with a lack of information. This immediately places me in a 1v2 and I lose the situation handedly. Assuming we have good info, let's explain a couple different ways I could have approached this. When I approach this corner, I first throw a grenade to cut off the reapproach from the original enemy. I then slide out and jump in an attempt to gain peeker's advantage and what's also known as camming your opponent. This is a great strategy if you know there is only one opponent and that they might be hugging the corner you are approaching. This happens because you both see them before they see you, and they have to quickly adjust to a moving target. On the flip side of making aggressive peeks and camming, one should also know when to slow peek. Slow peeking occurs when you either don't know what's around the corner, or you know for a fact that there's going to be one or more enemies. When slow peeking, you scan for enemies as you slowly approach the corner. In addition to this, you do what's called pie slicing. As you are scanning, you are only opening yourself up to one enemy at a time. This creates a series of 1v1s as opposed to a 1v2 or even worse, a 1v3 or a 1v4. To end with a general tip, when in doubt, stay close to a wall. Don't open yourself up to more than one enemy if you don't absolutely have to. Now that we've talked about how to engage in individual gunfights, we can talk about how to set up those gunfights with proper pacing.
Buenos dias, children.
We'll start our talk on pacing with the most obvious of the two, which is playing too aggressively. Of all the habits on this list, this is the one I fall victim to most often. In this clip, you see me spawning while staring at 2 X's for my teammates. Even being down 2 teammates, my teammate and I force our way in and attempt to take the hill. These hero plays rarely accomplish you anything and just make it that much longer for you and your team to get back into the fight properly. The less obvious but equally prevalent pacing failure is playing too passively, as we'll see in this clip. At this point in the match, I have returned the flag to our base, but our flag is no longer there. This is creating a stalemate position for the two teams. While awaiting the return of our flag, I notice our entire team is backed up into our base. By doing this, we've given up massive control of the map. We have no access to power weapons or power positions, and we have blocked off none of the other spawns on the map besides that in our base. The enemies capitalize on this by creating multiple angles and collapsing on our final spawn, returning their flag in the process. In this scenario, the smart play by my teammates would have been to push out slightly and create resistance at the long angles on either flank on the map. Next, I want to talk about some objective-based decisions that can help you better execute in your ranked games. The first habit I see all the time is not resetting the odd ball from a power position or a setup. By doing this, you make it super easy for the enemy team to reclaim the ball and execute on the setup you worked so hard to create. Instead of doing this, if you notice your teammates are starting to fall and you're in a great position that the enemy team might like, throw the ball off the map if you can, or at least get it out of that setup as best you can. With King of the Hill being new, the number one habit I see in this game mode is hiding when you're on the hill. In this clip, I'll show you how hiding and not managing space or making it difficult for the enemies to take map control can lead to you ultimately losing the hill. As I approach the hill here, I see that I have two teammates occupying it, but they are both hiding. By doing this, we have no control over the map outside the hill, and we actually have no info or sightlines as to where the enemy might be coming from. Additionally, because they're buried in so tight, we're allowing the enemy team to easily pie cut like we had talked about previously, which creates a series of 1v1s and no opportunities for team shooting. Throughout the course of this hill defense, we never once shoot as a team, and we end up falling one by one. The last thing I want to touch on in this video is the importance of playing your life.
Yoink.
This clip is a great example of how playing your life can benefit both you and your team. Notice throughout the course of this clip that we are maintaining near constant control of the hill, and when the enemy tries to attack, we take it right back. Being able to successfully escape a gunfight not only saves you a life, but keeps you in the fight and also creates more pressure on your opponents as they try and take back objectives. At the highest level, that first pick can be all you need to start breaking down a setup. This is why it's so important in a 4v4 gunfight for your team to properly team shoot and prioritize certain targets as a team, not individually. More guns in the fight means more damage. It's as simple as that. Lastly, if the enemy is not able to catch that first pick, they are going to be more hesitant to push on the hill. Use this psychology to your advantage. Well, that is going to wrap up another one for me, guys. If you liked the video or you learned something today, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If I missed anything or you want me to cover anything else, let me know in the comments below. If you want to see live content from me, come on by to twitch.tv/thatdubdude, and I will see you guys on the next one.
But if I lay down and I play dead